Howdy howdy, and welcome to today's Arena Cutoff video for Marvel Contest of Champions as I cover round 1 results for the Man-Thing and Star-Lord arenas, then jump into some round 2 predictions. So first, the results. Not a big shocker here. Man-Thing wasn't any kind of crazy, kind of high numbers for a new champ, a new feature champ in the game, as expected. Came in his 5-star feature at 45 million, and then the 4-star feature coming in at 9.5 million. Then jumping over to 4-star basic Star-Lord, he was actually a tad bit higher than the norm, which is right around 1.6 million. He actually, his cutoff was at 1.68 million. So again, nothing too extreme there. Definitely kind of within that ballpark of the standard, but a slight bit higher, which isn't a big shock given even though Star-Lord's been in the game for a mighty long time. He's still one of the decent champs to have, one of those top tier champs once awakened. So maybe somebody had him, or a number of folks across the community had him already, but not duped. So this was an easy chance for them to get him duped. So anyway, so I think that's probably a little bit of the explanation of why we saw a tad bit higher number, but nothing significant again. And when I compare these round 1 results to my cutoff predictions, they were kind of where I figured they would land. I was a slight bit lower on my Man-Thing prediction, coming in at 40 million, so not exactly within 10%. I try to get within 5 to 10% of my predictions, and so yeah, just slightly missed that. But when, in the case of the 4-star feature and the 4-star basic, those were all well within that 10%, closer to 5% actually, so definitely the type of predictions I try to nail. But anyway, just real quick too, these results are for the veterans bracket, meaning your account's been open for over 60 days. So now that I've taken a look at round 1 results, let's take a look at some past arena results in round 2 to get an idea of what might happen this time. Starting first with the 5-star feature, what we've been seeing, anybody that has a round 1 in that 40 range, they typically go higher, even in the 50. They've typically gone higher here the last round of champs or so that have been doing it. Now you can see all the way at the beginning Human Torch there, but that's been months ago. Everybody else since then have been typically going higher in round 2. And what you don't see here is Elsa Bloodstone. She had the same thing, but it was really actually close if I recall correctly. It's really close round 1 and round 2. I'd say those cutoffs are pretty much the same. So either the same kind of cutoff from round 1 to round 2, but in reality you can see that slight increase. 4-star feature, kind of the same kind of pattern, but in reverse. So you can see here again after Human Torch, starting with Mysterio, Warlock, Black Widow, and most recently Elsa, even though she's not on the graph here. What you see, round 1 is higher than round 2. There's typically a decline, and that's been the case again. Seeing that with Elsa Bloodstone, even though you don't see her numbers here, I did take a look at those, and round 1 was higher than round 2. In the case of Elsa, actually, they were pretty significantly different, where round 1 was in the 10 million range and round 2 was in the 7 million range. So definitely a decrease we're seeing for round 2 for those 4-star feature champs. And then jumping over to the 4-star basic arenas, what we typically see here now is kind of like that round 1, where you have that decrease between round 1 and round 2. Or pretty much similar type number kind of thing. So it's not a significant decrease, but it's not a significant increase either. So it's kind of around, you know, it could be either around the same or a slight decrease. So that's kind of what we've seen the 4-star basic trend to kind of end up these days. And then with the 3-star feature, it's almost always the case where round 1 is higher than round 2. So anyway, keeping these trends in mind, here are my thoughts for round 2 predictions for the Man-Thing and Star-Lord arenas. And again, these are for the veterans bracket. I think we're going to look at 48 million for that 5-star feature. That slight increase, nothing significant, but that slight increase from round 1 to round 2. I think with the Man-Thing 4-star feature, I actually do think it's going to be kind of more on par at 10 million because it was a little bit lower start since it was 10 million. Those 10 millions we typically saw in the trend graph there, they were dropping down, but when 9 million is kind of where that round 2 number would end up. So it's kind of like it's going to be closer to like probably 9.5 to 10 million. So I just rounded up to 10 million because I'd rather be higher than lower than the cutoff. That means you're actually going to get the champ. And then 1.7 instead, you know, again, I think this number is going to be very similar to round 1. So you saw some of those examples in past arenas because again, Star-Lord's pretty decent, and if you did just happen to get him, you're going to want to get him duped. So I think that number is going to be right around what we saw for round for round 1. And then lastly, coming over to the 3-star feature, I think that number is going to come in at 1.2 million. And again, with these predictions, I always try to get within 5 to 10%. So I always kind of like to give a grind target because this is where I think the numbers are going to kind of actually land. Here's a number I would recommend if you want to make sure you don't miss out on those champs. And again, nothing is guaranteed, so just kind of keep that in mind. I think you want to go to 51 million for the 5-star feature Man-Thing, 12 million for the 4-star feature Man-Thing, 1.9 million for Star-Lord, and lastly 1.3 million for the 3-star feature champ. So anyway, these are my thoughts for grind targets as well as predictions for the veterans bracket. When it comes to the earlier bracket, there's just not a ton of data out there past arena results to kind of really get an idea from trend analysis what might be going on. So this is just anecdotal information. These numbers, I should just say, are based off of anecdotal information I get from time to time from folks like you in the community who let me know how they're doing. There's a lot of volatility in these arenas as people move out, ever so often between this, so it's pretty hard to get a good idea, an accurate read on the number of people in the pool even. So these are definitely some rough estimates, but just some guide points to kind of keep in mind. And at the end of the day, these are all under that last milestone reward, which, as I always say, with a new progressing roster, you're going to want to try to go as far as you can with those milestone rewards anyway, as all of that material will help you progress your roster. But anyway, starting with the beginner's bracket, so that means your account's open 1 to 30 days, and that is not game time, that's just actual time since the account's been open. Doesn't matter how long you play the account. If your account's been open for less than 30 days, you're in the beginner's bracket. Anything over that, you're moving on up. But starting first with the beginner's bracket, 3-star feature, I think it's around 245, 4-star basic 800,000, 4-star feature 1.2 million. Intermediate bracket, 3-star feature looking at 525, 4-star basic 1 million, lastly the 4-star feature at 1.4 million. So anyway, these are my thoughts for round 2 of the Man-Thing and Star-Lord arenas. Would love to hear your opinion, especially if it's different than mine. Throw it on down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And if you have any questions, throw them down there too, and I will try to get to them sooner than later. So other than that, hopefully you found this information helpful. If so, I'd really appreciate it if you click that thumbs up button, as it greatly helps the channel. And if you like these type of videos and other videos I have in the channel and you haven't subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you did. Thanks a lot for stopping by, and have a great day.